Before man wrote his first word, before kings carved their names in stone, the sea was already old, vast, patient, and full of whispers. Sailors would speak of something that moved beneath the waves. Not fish, not God, not demon, but something in between. They called it Leviathan. But every civilization saw a different face in that same abyss. Each people looked into the dark water and found their own reflection, their own fears, their own gods, staring back. In the Hebrew world, Leviathan was no mere creature. It was chaos itself. The scriptures speak of it in hushed reverence. The twisted serpent, the dragon of the sea, whom the Lord shall punish. Isaiah 27 verse 1. It was said to dwell in the deep waters of creation, one of the first beings born when God separated the seas from the heavens. To the ancient Hebrews, Leviathan represented what was untamed and terrifying, the roaring ocean that no man could command. In the book of Job, God himself speaks of Leviathan, not as a myth, but as proof of his own might. Can you draw out Leviathan with a hook? Will he make supplications to you? Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap forth. It was armored with scales that could turn aside spears and arrows. Its breath could ignite the sea. It feared nothing under heaven. To them, Leviathan was both awe and terror, the wild force that only the Creator could tame. And in the end times, it was said, God would slay Leviathan and serve its flesh to the righteous, a feast symbolizing divine victory over chaos. But before the Hebrews, the Babylonians told of another, Tiamat, the dragon of saltwater chaos. She was no beast. She was the very ocean itself. When her children, the younger gods, rebelled, her heart filled with fury. She gave birth to monsters, serpents with venom for blood, dragons, and scorpion men. The god Marduk, champion of order, rose to fight her. Armed with storm and wind, he cast his net over Tiamat, splitting her body in two. Half became the sky, half became the sea. From her defeat, the world was born. To the Babylonians, the dragon was not evil. It was creation's necessary chaos, slain so that life could begin. This was the first Leviathan, the serpent of beginnings and endings. In the coastal cities of Canaan, long before Israel's prophets, the Phoenicians and Ugarites sang of Leviathan, the twisting serpent of the sea. 7 heads, 7 storms, 7 deaths. He battled the storm god Baal-Hadad, lord of thunder. When Baal triumphed, the rains returned, the land was fed, and chaos was chained once more beneath the waves. Leviathan was the Canaanite echo of Leviathan, a being that symbolized drought, flood, and the eternal struggle between storm and sea. Each year, they said, Leviathan stirred, and Baal had to rise again to subdue him, thus explaining the rhythm of seasons, the clash of chaos and order that shaped life itself. Farther down the Nile, the Egyptians feared another serpent, Apep or Apophis, that he was the enemy of Ra, the sun god, and every night he lay in wait as the sun descended into the underworld. As Ra's solar bark sailed through the darkness, Apep would rise, enormous, shining with scales of shadow, his mouth wide enough to swallow gods. Each night, Ra battled him. Each dawn was a victory of light over darkness. Priests would chant spells and strike effigies of Apep to help Ra prevail. Here, Leviathan was not chaos in the sea, but the serpent in the night, the endless shadow that sought to devour light itself. Across the frozen north, among the Norse, the Leviathan took another name, Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent. Born of Loki's bloodline, he was cast into the ocean by Odin, where he grew so vast that he encircled the entire world, biting his own tail, a serpent forming the circle of eternity. He was both prison and protector, holding the seas in place. But prophecy warned that when he released his tail, Ragnarok would begin. Thor, the thunder god, was destined to fight him. When they met, thunder split the heavens, and waves rose like mountains. Thor would slay Jormungandr, but take 9 steps before falling dead from the serpent's venom. In the Norse world, Leviathan was the boundary of existence itself, the line between life and the abyss. In China, the Leviathan was not cursed, but divine. The dragon long ruled over water, storms, and destiny. Unlike the Western dragons, it was not evil. It was wise, noble, and eternal. Emperors claimed to descend from it, Rain rituals honored it, and fishermen prayed to it for calm tides. But when balance was broken, when men grew greedy or proud, the dragon would stir, unleashing typhoons and floods to remind the world of its place beneath heaven. Even here, Leviathan was the same, the deep power of nature, asleep until man's arrogance awakens it. In Greek myth, there was Cetus, the sea monster sent by Poseidon to punish kings. When Queen Cassiopeia boasted her beauty above the Nereids, Poseidon unleashed Cetus upon Ethiopia. It was a creature so vast its back broke the waves like mountains. Perseus, the hero, descended from the sky, slaying it with the head of Medusa. To the Greeks, Leviathan represented divine retribution, the punishment for hubris, the reminder that man could not defy the gods without consequence. Below is a detailed storyteller's look at what real or once real creatures may have inspired the legend of Leviathan, weaving myth and science together. In the burning heart of the ancient Near East, where the Nile carved its way through dust and stone, there lived a creature that men both worshipped and feared, the Nile crocodile. It was no ordinary beast. It was a living echo of the abyss, enormous, armored, patient, eternal. Its body glimmered like forged bronze beneath the sun, its scales fitting together like shields crafted by divine hands. When it moved, the river itself seemed to tremble. When it struck, even the strongest oxen vanished beneath the blood-dark water. The Book of Job describes Leviathan with words that could have been written for this very creature. His back is made of rows of shields shut up closely as with a seal. To those who walked the river's edge, this was no coincidence, it was revelation. Here was chaos made flesh. Here was the embodiment of all that man could not tame, the silent, ancient power that waited beneath still waters. The Hebrews looked upon it and saw the image of Leviathan. The beast that only God could command at it was the perfect symbol of divine mystery, untouchable, unbroken, and terrifying in its calm. The river was life, yet within it, death had scales. The Egyptians went further. They saw the divine within its terror. They called it Sobek, the crocodile god, lord of strength, fertility, and the unending cycle of death and rebirth. To them, this monster was not merely chaos. It was balance. The same jaws that could destroy could also protect. The same waters that drown could give life. Thus, the Nile crocodile became more than an animal. It became a reflection of the cosmic truth that the ancients understood. That power is never purely good or evil, that creation and destruction share the same source, and that beneath the surface of every calm river lies the face of a god, waiting, watching, and reminding man of his place in the order of the world. Out upon the endless waters, where sky and sea become one, there moves a creature that dwarfs all others, the whale, the living mountain of the deep. To ancient eyes, its emergence was a miracle and a terror. When it rose from the abyss, the sea itself seemed to lift in reverence. When it opened its jaws, it was as though the earth had found a voice. And when it spouted from its blowhole, that sudden burst of mist and sound, men swore they saw smoke rise from its nostrils, as written in the Book of Job. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap forth. Smoke goeth out of his nostrils, as from a seething pot or cauldron. To the desert-born Hebrews, who had never seen the open sea, tales of such a creature were almost divine. From sailors and merchants came stories of giants in the water, beasts so vast that ships could be mistaken for insects upon their backs. To those who lived far from the ocean, such stories became symbols, and symbols became revelation. Thus, the whale became Leviathan, not merely an animal, but a living force of creation, unseen, untamed. It ruled a world beneath the waves that no man could enter. Its breath was the storm. Its song was the echo of the deep, a voice that seemed older than the earth itself. To see a whale breach is to watch the sea remembering its power. It is the moment the calm is broken and the hidden rises into light, a living reminder that the world still holds mysteries beyond the grasp of reason. And so, in the mind of ancient man, the whale was not just flesh and bone. It was cosmic breath, the pulse of the abyss itself. It became the symbol of Leviathan's majesty, the power that sleeps beneath order, waiting to rise again when men forget how small they truly are. For even now, when a whale breaks the surface, when its plume ascends like smoke toward heaven, it whispers the same ancient truth. The deep is alive, and no hook of man shall ever draw it out. Long before men named the stars, they stumbled upon bones in the earth, massive, petrified, impossible bones, the remains of creatures too great for imagination. Buried beneath mountains, hidden within cliffs and riverbeds, they were the echoes of an age before memory. Jawbones the length of a man's body, teeth like daggers, vertebrae the size of shields that teo those ancient eyes. These were not mere fossils. They were proof of gods and monsters. They called them dragons. They called them sea serpents. They said the flood had swallowed them, that only the gods had seen them alive. What they unearthed were the bones of the true Leviathans, titans that once ruled the primordial oceans. Mosasaurus, a beast that stretched 50 feet, a crocodile of the deep with flippers like wings. It was the terror of the late Cretaceous seas, swallowing anything that dared to move. Pliosaurus, its skull alone longer than a man is tall, teeth honed to pierce through bone and armor alike. Chronosaurus, a name that echoed its hunger. It devoured predators as easily as prey, a god among killers. These were the lords of an ancient chaos, the rulers of a world drowned in shadow long before the first city rose from clay. And yet, in time, one more giant emerged from the past, a revelation buried in stone and reborn through science. In 2010, paleontologists uncovered the skull of a whale so fearsome, its teeth were the size of human forearms. They named it Leviathan melvillei, after the biblical beast and the author of Moby Dick. Leviathan was no myth. It was a hunter of hunters, a whale that preyed upon other whales, its jaws capable of shattering bone and flesh alike. In it, the ancient vision of Leviathan found flesh once more, the very embodiment of divine terror resurrected through time. Even now, its fossils rest silent beneath layers of earth, like the heartbeat of a forgotten world. They remind us that the myths of our ancestors were not mere stories, but memories, echoes of real creatures that once breathed, swam, and ruled the deep. Every so often, the ocean reveals a secret, not in words, but in movement. They shimmer beneath the waves, a flash of silver, a shape too long, too fluid, too otherworldly to belong to this earth. And then, rising from the darkness like a whisper from the dawn of time, appears the oarfish, a serpent of living light, stretching more than 10 meters, twisting through the water like a ribbon of moonlight. When sailors first beheld it, they did not see a fish. They saw a message that appeared after tempests, as if born from a storm itself, its scales glistening with the colors of dawn and ruin. Its arrival meant change, the breath of the abyss stirring, the balance of heaven and sea shifting once again. They told stories of divine omens and restless gods. They said the sea was alive, that its heart had moved, and as the oarfish writhed and vanished back into the deep, they whispered the only name they knew for such a being, Leviathan. For what else could it be? This living serpent of silver and silence. To the ancient mind, it was not simply creature, but cosmic intrusion, the unseen world crossing into the scene. Every ripple it made was like a divine heartbeat, every appearance a warning that chaos still breathed beneath creation. Even the shores bore witness. After great storms, the sea would cast forth its dead, giant eels and sea snakes, their bodies coiling in death as though they still carried the will of the deep. Their eyes were glass, their skin like liquid metal, and to those who found them, it was as if the ocean had exhaled its nightmares onto the sand. If this story stirred something within you, if it reminded you that even chaos has purpose, and that every storm hides meaning, then let your voice join the current. Comment, share your thoughts, your reflections, your questions. Your words are ripples that reach further than you think. Share. Let this story flow beyond these waters. Let others hear the echo of Leviathan's name. Subscribe, so that you may return to the deep, to hear more tales of forgotten gods, ancient powers, and the mysteries that shaped our world.